Thank you. It's always very difficult to go after Neeraj and now, Manika, because they're such good speakers, and sometimes you wonder, whether it even makes sense to speak after them because the wisdom they impart. But still, I think I'm older than both of them, so I'll try and say something different. And as I was preparing this speech or thinking about it, I said, what is a good speech? What defines a good speech? And I was tempted to go to the net and look up some of the most inspiring, wonderful things that people have said. And but there is a let me think through this rather than rely upon something which has been done before. So let's be original. So what's a good speech? One, I think it should be relevant. A speech needs to be relevant. It would be useless for me today to come to commencement and talk about, FIFA and how wonderfully Netherlands played Uruguay yesterday. Wouldn't make sense. It should be relevant. Second, it should be inspiring. It should leave a long-term impact. I remember Neeraj inviting me to make this speech many years ago, and about 3 years later I met somebody, and he said, "You know the guy, he used the term corporate rat. I still remember it." So it had made a long-term impact. He remembered the term corporate rat. I don't know whether he remembered other things about, why we should or should not be corporate rats, but he still remembered. So it should leave a long-term impact. I think it should be witty. So it's not soporific, it's not sleep-inducing. And finally, it should be short. So I'll take about 10 minutes from now because I'm beginning my speech now, okay, and tell you what my life's experiences are all about, which are relevant, and hopefully they will inspire you. First, it's wonderful to see you. One reason Mr. Batra didn't enjoy his time at IIM Ahmedabad is because when we went to IIM Ahmedabad, there were 110 guys and 10 girls. I can't imagine anybody enjoying that experience with that kind of ratio. So here, I'm sure both you girls and guys will have a much nicer time because it appears there's at least one guy for one girl. The girls in their time had a wonderful time. They came back absolutely dumb out of the school because they didn't have to work. There were 10 guys who were falling all over themselves to do their homework, etc. So let's talk about the reflections of life. I think about life a lot these days. You do start thinking about life a lot when you have less of it to lead. At your age, you don't think about mortality because, 90 or 80 appears so very far away. Strange. We should be thinking about life at 20 because that's when we can make the maximum use of life. But if you start thinking about life at 56, which is what I am, you've led most of it. And now you've started to think about how to lead it. But I think I am digressing. So let me talk about what I really thought is the key to living. And it just struck me over the last few days that you don't lead life in days or months or weeks or years. You actually lead it in moments. It's this moment, it's the 10 seconds that Usain Bolt, or less than that now, that he takes to run that race. If he misses out on those 10 seconds in that 100 meters final, that's it. Usain Bolt is cast to the dustbins of history, never remembered, or to be remembered as the greatest athlete of all time. You girls would know. Do you know how long you take to decide to date a guy? You know, a lot of people will say, oh, days, but the research has shown that a girl takes just about less than 5 minutes to date a guy or not. In 5 minutes, it's all over for him. When I think about sometimes, and you know, this thing happened to me because we inducted some management trainees. And as I was interviewing them from Infinity Business School, it struck me that all these people that I interviewed had 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, to make an impression, or whether they would be hired or they would not be hired. That's it. Whatever you do over the next 2 years, your life at the end of the day will be encapsulated in those 5 minutes where you need to make an impression with the interviewer on the kind of job, on the job that you really want. And those 5 minutes are going to be the most crucial 5 minutes of your life. What is it that the interviewer is looking for? Has anybody asked that question among you? So when you go back today, you know, this is the long-term impact thing. This is that inspiration thing. This is the thing that should make you think. Think about it. What is that person looking for in those 5 minutes? And let's kind of discuss it at lunch afterwards, you know. At least certainly I want to be able to discuss it with some of you. But what that person is looking for in that 5 minutes, he's making several evaluations all at the same time, processing so much information that all parallelly, he wants to make sure, do you have the qualities of leadership? He wants to ensure, are you a person who is a team person? Do you have curiosity? Will you have passion towards what you do? Are you a well-rounded personality? Are you the kind of person who can think out of the box, how you can relate to things? Will you have tolerance for diversity? There are so many things that these people are looking for. And there's one thing, and one thing alone, that can help you make that impression and make this person feel that you are the person that needs to be hired. And I was thinking about it. What is that one thing that I want to tell you guys that you are not doing enough of? And if you did, 9 out of 10 of you would succeed in that interview. And that one thing is reading. You guys don't read enough. To be a good team player requires you to be tolerant of other people's attitudes, etc. These are the sort of things that a wide variety of reading, history, philosophy, economics, business, literature, can really help you make those 5 minutes the most important 5 minutes of your life, the ones that reading can make that count. It would also be my earnest submission to the management of this school, Neeraj, Radhika, Nitin, to just inculcate this love of reading. And the best way to start sometimes is to take something, which is as broad and yet as relevant to your world, but still will cover subjects in science and technology, book reviews, as The Economist, and say, okay, let's read, for example, The Economist. Let's read the editorials in newspapers like The Crest or The Business Today, and spend at least 1 hour a week discussing this. Then you learn to become complete individuals. And that is really what makes that difference in that 5 seconds. Thank you so much.